is how we're coming to the final few trading days of the month of January. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new Business and Markets Week. It's Monday, the 29th of January. And of course, hope you had a very wonderful weekend, everyone. Let's step into the market. We've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we're down with the first month of the new year. How time flies. The stock market in Nigeria was better by 0.25% on Friday. The BRVM fell by 0.37%. The Egyptian stock market started Sunday, yesterday the 28th, which is the first trading day in Cairo, by a roaring 3.5%. The EGX 30 jumped across the 28,000 reading. The Nairobi stock market Friday was down by 1.75% as we saw earnings from big names such as East African Breweries reporting a downside for the period ended second half of full year 2024, December ended. Those numbers are in play. East African Breweries will be quoting cash dividend to shareholders to just about 1 Kenyan shilling. And they've got a GSE, a very strong Friday, 1.41% across the 75,000 threshold. Those are your market look back and how we're getting today's started on the news side. And that's where you go to East Africa. And of course, you do one of the big stories, the Middle East crisis, the whole firing on ocean vessels across the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, the whole issue around the weekend news that 3 American soldiers were killed in the Middle East. Still looking at whether this has anything to do with the Iran-backed militants within the region. The President Joe Biden says this will not be allowed to go unpunished. All that in the news over the weekend till this morning. Traders in the oil market took that up and pushed oil prices to around $84 a barrel, while the U.S. still dealing with the weather conditions that's frosting some of its oil on the ground. All of this in play as we start a new week. So geopolitics and the crisis around the Middle East is what one big story to watch. But you've got a whole lot to watch this week. You've got a U.S. Fed later this week on Wednesday. You have the Bank of England coming through on Friday, February the 2nd. Then you've got the Ghana Central Bank also deciding on interest rate for the first time this week. Last week, we heard from Christine Lagarde and the rest of the ECB holding rates unchanged, but says never say never as far as interest rate cost is concerned. Now, I was talking about the East African Breweries earnings earlier. Profit after tax, net profit down 22% to just about 6.8 billion shillings for the full year ended December 31st, 2023. This iconic brewer and one of the biggest companies on the Nairobi stock market will be slashing dividends to just about 1.0 shillings. Kenya's the Capital Market Authority, is looking to expand over-the-counter trading, bond trading within the Kenyan market, the biggest in East Africa, while Tullow Oil says it's planning about 1.6 billion shillings annual spending on the Kenyan's oil projects. And of course, you've got Uganda turning to Tanzania for petrol imports after the row with its main partner, partner, that's Kenya, by the way. Now, Uganda is looking elsewhere. Last week, we heard from the Kenyan Energy and Oil and Gas Ministry as far as the progress has been made towards getting oil out of the ground in the first half of 2025. That's the Talenga oil project. And finally, you've got Henry Claude Oyima is of BGFI, was named the Banker of the Year for the CEMAC region. That's the Central African, French-speaking Africa region by over the weekend. Congratulations to Oyima for that. Of course, you've got a bit of those announcements coming through in West Africa because UBA, which has some of its footprints in the CEMAC, Central Africa region, also got the notice. It also got the Bank of the Year award, Regional Bank of the Year award at the event which was held last week. Those announcements, and you can read up on those details. In the meantime, the military juntas in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger announced over the weekend they are exiting from ECOWAS. Overnight, we got a response from ECOWAS says there's no formal notice yet from these 3 countries, French-speaking West African countries, asking that they exit the region itself. Says the ECOWAS bloc, which was formed back in 1975, is no longer responsive to the needs of this country. Those 3 countries are under different forms of sanctions after the soldiers took over militarily from duly elected political authorities just last year. All of that in place. So the ECOWAS leaders will be having some emergency meeting to grapple with the latest self-delisting plans by Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. In the meantime, Nigeria's State Oil Corporation NPC reporting a very jumbo full year 2022 earnings. You can read up on the 111-page financials, which was released late Thursday. The Nigerian exchange says it's planning to review its listing rules to align it with the global best practices and open up the market for further delistings. This could be a way to prepare the NGX, to prepare the way for the likely listing of Dangote Refinery, which is yet unlisted and started just operating as we speak here in Lagos. Then you got Ghana looking to put up an auto assembly plant in Tanzania. We'd like to see how this relationship goes with President Samia Suluhu's economy, while Guinea in West Africa is planning a Dubai Dodos roundtable to attract project funding into the country. Everyone's warming up to Dubai and the UAE to see what could be learned from the success, the socio-economic success of the Emiratis. And let's test your West Africa's and Nigeria's briefing. Let's cross to Southern Africa. The growth for the country is still in focus. The Bank of America says South Africa's growth could triple this year despite significant challenges, which of course includes the general elections, which is being planned for April. It's the first going to be a major election 30 years down the line since the first Black South Africa political elections that brought the late President Nelson Mandela, the iconic leader of the country and anti-apartheid frontliner, into office back in 1994. In corporate news, Truworth says its second half 2023 earnings will be impaired, no thanks to declining sales. Folks in South Africa are shopping less as far as Truworth is concerned. And of course, those logistics, as far as the port congestion is concerned, you can blame that on Transnet. Malawi in Southern Africa, economy is set to grow 3.3% in the current year, while Datacor listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange shares its revenue surges 19% in the final quarter of last year. We're getting earnings from 2023 in the new year, all through, as we said, into the month of February. And finally, don't do business with crowdfunding organization known as Livestock Wealth. And that was a warning from South Africa's Financial Conduct Authority. Keep that in mind. Let's check in with North Africa, where Egypt's Suez Canal Authority says the revenue is down 44% this month. Again, we all know the whole crisis with the Houthi rebels firing on certain ocean vessels going through the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, because of the crisis, the war in Gaza between the Hamas and Israel, which is now expanding in the manner of speaking, getting everyone on the edge of the sea. Tunisia, as default is been averted despite President Said's rejection of the help from the International Monetary Fund. The country says it's paid down on its local obligations and looking to meet all foreign obligations, debt obligations in the current year. Morocco has approved 42 projects worth about $747 million project in US dollars across various segments. And Libya says it needs about 1.8 billion, roughly $2 billion US dollars to rebuild the flood devastated areas of the country. And Badia says it's launching its first 500 million euros social bond issue in Africa. And those are your headlines to start Monday, the final Monday in January. Hope you had a very profitable one so far and make the best of the rest 3 days of 2024 January. I am Busi Namafaya. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.